I have dedicated my professional career to the study and control of arthropods.
Honesty, such a lonely word. Everyone is so untrue. Honesty, hardly ever heard.
Morning. This is part 7 of my sexual biology video series, where I'm going to be discussing fidelity and infidelity, and other mating systems, monogamy, polygamy, and such. And they're both in humans and in the natural world. But I want to start with a really interesting example of why it's a bad idea for us to look for moral guidance in the animal kingdom, in nature. I know people think, well, who does that? Well, a lot of us are accused of doing that when we look for certain behavior traits and we say that this is a natural phenomena. That's often heard by certain people as this is a moral phenomena. Natural doesn't mean good or bad. Natural means natural. It's not looking for moral guidance in the animal kingdom. But anyway, this is great. You saw the pictures at the beginning of this video. That is a shrimp called the Harlequin shrimp, Hymenocera picta. There's a number of other Hymenoceras out there. These shrimp, they're bizarre looking. Lots of really bright colored. But one of the things about these shrimp is that they travel in pairs, male and female pairs. They don't just travel together. They work almost, if you watch them, they walk together. They walk side by side. One stops, the other stops. When they actually feed on sea stars, so when they find a sea star, they cooperatively work to pry it off the bottom, turn it over, and then they'll eat a portion of it. They act as a coordinated team, knowing each other's thoughts. Well, not quite, but working together. So these were first discovered hundreds of years ago, but in the 19th century, a lot of 19th century writers romanticized these shrimps. It seems odd, but for whatever reason, they were popular aquarium pets in the 19th century in England. They're very hardy, even though they're tropical reef species. They do very well in aquaria. They're hardy. They're long-lived, and whatever. So the point is, they were brought back. They were kept, and they were portrayed by 19th century scientists. If you've ever read old scientific literature, you'll see even Darwin does this, where they'll be very coldly scientific, and then all of a sudden wax these poems out. There'll be this paragraph of this flowery literature that sounds more like, I don't know, like love poetry than science. It's kind of interesting. It doesn't happen today. But you'd see these things about the shrimp. Basically, popularization in 19th century science was that the Harlequin shrimp was the ideal for human morality in terms of, marriage. They were a team. They were a partnership. They weren't equal. Male was slightly larger than the female. Female followed the male's lead, which that's very 19th century. But nonetheless, they never squabbled. They never fought. They never disagreed. They acted coordinated. Everything they did was coordinated together. They raised multiple clutches of young together. They would always be producing more larvae together. They were a team. They were the perfect 19th century Victorian England moral ideal of what a marriage is supposed to be. And this was so popularized. There's the things people are saying that they have married couples to go read the ode to the Harlequin shrimp at the aquariums, that kind of stuff. Anyway, it's kind of silly, I think, but nonetheless, this article I'm talking about it's called "Monogamy and Crustaceans in Man" by authors Wickler and Seibt. This was a study that was done. Well, they actually tested this because even though this was sort of taken as a given, there hadn't been any real hard study on the fidelity of these shrimp. And what they found, and I believe the article is 1983. I'll check. I'll put a reference up for it. I don't have the article handy at all. I'm going from years ago memory. But what they found is that these the Harlequin shrimp aren't so fidelitous after all. In fact, they're a terrible example for human morality, or human fidelity. Because what they found is, and I'm going to just a little bit of background in shrimp. Shrimp have semi-transparent carapaces, usually, not all of them, but lots of them do. And what that allows for is that a male shrimp can see the developing ovary of a female. Okay, a male shrimp immediately, visually inspecting a female, knows how long it's going to be until she lays her eggs. He knows when the ovary's ripe. If the ovary's ripe, then she's going to lay eggs in, just several days or several hours or whatever. If the ovary's immature, it could be weeks or even months until she reproduces, depending on the species. What they found with these Hymenocera, because they're one of those species where once they reach sexual maturity, the female's constantly growing an ovary, grows. She lays eggs, and then eggs hatch, ovary grows again, repeatedly throughout the rest of her life. So it's a constant reproduction. And they found that if a rival female enters the territory of the male and female pair, say if you are having an aquarium and you put a female in there or another female, a single female, or if they're on the reef together and a female wanders in, the male will assess her reproductive condition, and if she is farther behind his wife, meaning that she's not going to reproduce before his wife reproduces, him and his partner will attack and kill the rival. Okay? Or attempt to kill the rival, chasing her away if possible. If they capture her, they will kill her and eat her. Okay? However, if the female, the invaded rival female, is closer to reproduction than his partner, no matter how many years they've been together, him and the rival will attack his partner and kill and eat her or chase her away. Hardly a good example for morality there. Essentially, the male is choosing the female that's going to produce embryos first. He's picking the best female at that moment and eating and or chasing away the other. I thought, I don't know, trying to think of a human analogy for this. The one that came to mind, which was a terrible one, was that, you and your wife are walking down the street and a younger, more attractive female comes up to you, and you and the younger attractive female, take turns eating your wife. But I thought, what, that's a terrible example because that's more of a fantasy than a, But anyway, sorry, that was in poor taste. Actually, what it does happen, something similar does happen in people. There are men out there who trade up constantly, so they're always getting rid of, in some cases, murdering their spouses for younger, more, but at the very least, marrying somebody, using them for a few years, having children with them for a few years, and then getting a better female, and out goes the old. So the behavior is in people. However, it's considered morally reprehensible in almost every single culture. I mean, it's not a positive thing. At least it should be considered so. So anyway, I guess the lesson is don't take your morality from nature. Nature is nature. It's not right or it's not wrong. It's just nature. If it happens in nature, it's natural. Doesn't mean it's good. Doesn't mean it's bad. It just is. Morals are dependent on the society you live in, the species you belong to, the population of that species you're in, the society subpopulation that you belong to, or even down to things like small communities, family groups. Okay, that's what morality is. It has nothing to do with the natural world. So, anyway, this is going to be a fun series. I hope this part 7. So I hope you enjoy the rest. Thanks.